Well, it is the month of May, and the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And a large part of mental health is helping individuals reach their potential by helping them get control of their personal lives. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. I'm joined now by Jonathan Lacewell, who is the owner of Illuminated Direction, to tell us a little bit more on how they help individuals reach their full potential. Jonathan, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Illuminated Direction.
Well, Illuminated Direction has been down on the coast since about 2016. 2018. What we do is we provide mental and behavioral health services to adults and children in the coastal area. What we like to do is we like to take a three-pronged approach to dealing with mental health, using therapy to change the thought process, case management to stabilize the environment, and then our in-person services such as peer support or community support to kind of change those behaviors. We like to take a symptom-based approach to where some people want to attack, let's say, depression. And so they use goals to say, okay, we want to reduce depression. Well, we look at the symptoms of depression and say, hey, we want to reduce crying spells. And we look at their environmental triggers. We teach that triggers come in the form of people, places, and things. And what we try to do is prepare them to face those triggers by teaching coping skills and other things to be able to adjust to those things.
I like what you said. You're helping adults and children, I guess children and adolescents.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of times children are seen as they're resilient, they're kids, they'll bounce back. And in some cases, that might not be the right answer.
Yeah, sometimes they just need a little help. Sometimes they need a little guidance. We all do at some point in time in our lives. So it's not to be ashamed to have a mental health condition. It's just being able to understand the practices that come in place to be able to stabilize so you can live the best full potential of your life.
Yeah, you hit on something there, being ashamed of having a mental health condition. I think it's important to say it's okay to not be okay, but asking for help and getting that help that you need is all part of breaking down that stigma, so you lose that part of being ashamed. Absolutely.
And so with this piece, we don't just tackle mental health, we tackle the environmental stuff as well, because it could be something as simple as nutrition that you could need assistance with, or just making a decision on how you get your start to your day. Sometimes it's important to get that first win. That's why some of the things we teach in our facility-based services is how to maintain an environment that you may not be accustomed to being in, and then being able to deal with your mental health situations in those places.
I love also that you say, everything you say, I'm finding another question to ask. I love that you mentioned nutrition. I have a 9-year-old who we were alerted to the fact that she may be having some of the outbursts that she's having because of the dye in the food. Mm-hmm. So we completely took out everything with all of the major dyes, and it has made a huge difference in the way she just exists and goes from day to day. I wouldn't have thought that was a big deal because we've always had mm-hmm. these things in our foods, but it made such a difference.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just that knowledge and that going outside of that circle of people that you're there. We're there because the circle of people don't meet your needs that are currently in your life. And so we come in to try and offer those possibilities for you to be able to achieve your goals.
So is this service that you offer, is it covered by insurance?
Yes, we are a Medicaid funded program. We're in network with all the insurances that Mississippi can, which is Magnolia, Molina, United, as well as straight Medicaid.
That's good, because those individuals, you don't want to not be able to help somebody because they can't afford the help.
Absolutely.
That's a key piece of it. So how do you, what is your role when it gets to that crisis moment?
So a lot of people, when they run into a crisis, they want to run straight to the hospital. And that's a difficult task for them and for the hospital, because the hospital has to talk about how long you've been having these symptoms, or how long have you been going through these problems that you have. Well, with us, if you want immediate care, we can set up a time to do an assessment for you. And then at that point in time, we'll be the pathway to try and get you through what you're going through. Mm-hmm. And then if hospital is needed, we'll have that proper information in place to be able to help with that intake process.
Yeah, those in-person services, I feel your three-pronged approach: therapy, case management, in-person services. Mm-hmm. You really have to. I know after COVID, we went to we didn't go to a strict virtual world, but virtual became more acceptable than it ever was before. Mm-hmm. But in situations like this, it's okay to entry level, like in the very beginning of maybe some of these cases, it's okay to to have maybe a virtual meeting, but you really got to get that in-person piece of it is really key to what makes you guys at Illuminated Direction so successful.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the children. But in some cases, there are people that have a lot of things on their schedule. And so sometimes telehealth may work for them in that moment. But when it comes to the in-person with the enhanced services like peer support and community support, those things are helping us integrate everyone into the community and into their social network of people.
Are you working with, you mentioned community support, are you working with those family members? Because in some cases, these triggers might be underneath your own roof.
Absolutely, and that's why we try to have family team meetings, and that's why we try and do family therapy as a part of our services in order to be able to attack those things and those feelings and bring those to light. Like sometimes we don't realize that the kid may be cutting up at school because they're getting yelled at to get up in the morning. And so if we can alleviate that by putting in a plan, then we may be able to have a better kid operating in school.
I think you're uncovering my trauma here, yelling. I know that, God bless my mother, she had such a chore just getting us out of bed in the morning, because we didn't have alarm clocks as kids. We didn't roll by alarm clocks. Thank goodness our parents did. But like that, for getting out of bed in the morning, I just want to stay under the covers. And that you don't realize could be what's causing those problems. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's how the day starts. And that sets you up for success for the rest of it, especially when you're going to school. You can't control that environment at school. Your kids spend almost as much time at school as they do at home. And that is an unknown variable, because you don't know what other kids are bringing to the table, what teachers are bringing to the table. So you're able to address some of those needs in the very beginning.
Yeah, and absolutely. We also try to create a plan for their day. A lot of times people don't want to get up because there's no plan, no expectation for their daytime. And so that's what we do through our person-centered plans is we utilize the mental illness to identify those symptoms, but also those things that's around them that they may need help with planning their day and getting their day started. Simple things like creating a grocery list and not just going out to go grocery shopping, or creating a way to, if you may have social anxiety, creating a way that you can go out and meet new people on a daily basis just by simply saying hello or stepping outside of your comfort zone.
And inspecting that expectation, because it could change.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things that you have to ebb and flow with based on what situations present themselves to you.
And that's why we do a lot of practicing and role modeling and for our clients and our patients, so that they'll be able to anticipate what happens whenever they're out in the community setting.
That's right. So listen, you see that information there at the bottom of your screen, phone number, email address, website. Reach out to Jonathan and his team, and if you have questions, it's better to get ahead of them before it becomes an issue. So reach out to them, let them know, ask questions. They're here to help you out and help you live a better life. Jonathan, thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right.